So in the next section we'll use the template that we've made, and just from a box we'll just create the basic shape of the Dragon Boy character. So we've got the box into the scene like so, and we've got true symmetry on, so we're going to be able to, whatever we do on one side is mirrored on the other side, and we've got the planes at the side and at the back. And if you look down here, this is the front, but you can't actually see the image, so you need to change display to something like garage shading so that you can see it. And actually we've got front here, right here, so the same with the right one, so we can see. Now what we need to do is start using the different views to match up the cube to the size that we want. We're going to use this as the roughly around the chest area, or belly, just below the chest, so we'll scale it down. I've just set my Cinema 4D up to be able to use keyboard commands to change these, but you can set that however you want, so as long as you know where to change, scale, rotate and move here, set them to keyboard commands, you'll speed yourself up straight away. It doesn't matter what you set them to, you can use the default if needed. Now we could make this transparent, the actual geometry, but I'm not too worried about that at the moment because we can see roughly what we want in all these views anyway. So I'm matching up roughly this area here, and we're going to extrude up and do the chest. So you can see it doesn't match in this view yet. We don't need that one because we're using these two, and there we see it in the perspective. And before we do that, I'll probably want to put a few cuts in, and there's a few tools that you can do that with, but the one that I'm going to use is just switch knife on, switch it to loop, and then we can loop cuts all the way around. You can see it's telling you where it's going to put them, so we'll put one here and one here for now, and then just go back to point mode, and then we can go to point and move, and what we'll do is, you can see, we'll just adjust the shape of the chest, of the belly up to the chest, to match the reference. So we want the point coming out of the front like so. Bear in mind he's got a belt on, so we'll put a belt later, and we'll have his, let's have a look down here. That's the back, that's the side, and that's the front. So again, we're just matching the side one to the side, that's the back, so I'll bring that down slightly. And all I'm doing is using a single mouse click, and you can probably hear that anyway, and I'm just rounding it off from the top because obviously the body is barrel shaped, and I'm matching the reference as much as I can. You can't see through the arm there, but it's not a problem because you can guesstimate that goes up through here, through the back. And then we just clean it up really to make it flow, so we try and get the lines to flow with how you'd want the body to flow, almost like early days yet, but almost like the muscles are going to be, so flowing up and flowing sideways. So all of that seems fine there now. It matches here and it matches here. Now it's slightly off kilter there, you can see. Now that might be that the reference is slightly out, which I think it is, or it might be that the model's slightly out, and it doesn't really matter. We can either move the model slightly for now, or we can move the reference later on. We've locked it for now, so we'll leave it like that. Okay, so back to face mode, and if we just select the faces as we're doing it mirrored, we don't need to select all four, but that's okay. Hold command and move them, and that does an extrude like so. We'll just move it back slightly and then extrude again, and we're up underneath the chest cavity now. So if we now go back to point mode, keyboard A for me, and we'll just tweak the front, we think will be the back, coming up round here now, and then we'll have a look at the side. Try and go over slightly, because when you subdivide it smooths it out, tightens it up more than you would want it to. So we'll bring that up under the chest like so. We'll bring that slightly higher. There we go. And if we have a look at it in the 3D view, see that we're building up nicely. Those will be the three main muscles in the belly area. And then we're going to go up and do the chest now. So hit magnet by mistake then. Okay, so we'll go to face mode again, still selected. I'm going to do 2 more extrudes by holding Command Move, that'll take us right up towards the shoulder now. And then maybe I should have done one more actually, so we'll go down again, I'll just do one more, and that'll give us plenty to work with there. So back down, back to point mode, and let's just do the back first, like so. Got a nice curved back, and then we'll do the front. Hopefully you can see this on the video. I'll just do it on the big screen for you so you can see. So what I did there, just in case you don't know, is just clicked middle mouse button on the window that I want to see a full screen of, and that gives me that full screen. Bring this back slightly. Just trying to work out where the chest area is. Let's go and have a look at the front. Fine. And you can see that now matches the side quite well, and now almost the front. We can change that. All we're doing at the moment is building the basic geometry. We can do a lot of editing later on, and to get the rest of it accurate. At the moment we're just looking at getting a really good overall shape. So we're okay there. What I'll do is I'll just bring that down slightly, because I'm going to bring the arms out from here. I'll bring that in slightly, because I'm going to extend up for what will be the neck. Okay, so if you look at the side here, you've got 2 polygons there that will be a really easy way to extend out over the shoulders. We're not going to worry about the polygon flow at the minute. All I'm trying to do is get the bulk shape. We'll work out polygon flow, and I'll explain that a little bit better a little bit later on. So I'll come out sideways with the arm. I've only extruded it a little bit, and I'm going to turn it, and I'll do another extrude, Command, and then push, and push that down a little bit. Didn't mean to extrude again, and we'll just scale that as well, and rotate it slightly. Okay, and we'll leave that just for now. Back to keyboard A, which is, for me, is, I keep forgetting that mine are customized keyboard commands, so I'll try not to tell you my commands anymore. There we go, just make sure we can see that geometry. So I'm just tweaking the geometry there, seeing if there's any silly overlapping ones, which there isn't. There we go. We've got, make sure the barrel shape of the arm is there, so that you, when you extrude down the arm, it's going to be the right shape. Again, I can't stress enough, don't worry at this stage about polygon flow. All you're trying to do is go for form. You're looking for the shapes. We're not looking for exact topology yet. So select the neck, and do an extrude. Let's just make sure this is right from the side, because this is crucial now. And we might need to extend this like so, back and front. So instead of doing a full scale, we've just stretched it forwards and backwards. Now that's not the shape of the neck that I want, so I'll go to point mode, and I will just tweak that to the shape that I want. I'm sort of looking in different views all the time here. You can see now that area there is now more of a neck sort of shape. We've gone slightly off here, so I've got to bring this back. This is because we're not using many polygons. I would really need to put another split in where I've just moved, but we'll do that later. So we've got the bulk done. A bit wider there. Okay. And then you can see as we extrude the neck, we weren't a million miles off with that. Each time I'm about to extrude, I just have a quick check in the different views to make sure it's okay. Now what I'm going to do is create a box for the head. It won't be particularly accurate just at the moment, but again, I'm just trying to get us a shape that we can then work on. So I'm just going to extend it like so. So I'm still just extruding. And we'll go right up high with this one. We'll forget the detail for now. And then higher again, but just scale it down. See what I've done in a second. So I've literally just made a block for the head up here. So I'll go back to edge mode and we'll switch knife on again. And we'll put 2 cuts through there. And now go back to point mode. And we'll just roughly rough out the head. The helmet will be built separately, so we're building inside this helmet at the moment. And we'll actually make the helmet from the geometry we're going to make for the face. So all we're doing at the minute is matching probably just a few centimetres inside of the head. Back of the head, like so. Back of the jawline here. What will be the nose here. In fact, we can just put another, keep looking for opportunities, so we'll put another split in here. Try not to run too many splits around, simply because you'll end up with geometry that you don't want. But as I'm just trying to match a nice shape at the moment, it's not a major issue. Okay, and we'll just go to here. Just doing it by eye now. Looking at where the 2 references. The trouble with having a side and a front reference is you don't always get the full 3D effect, as in you can't work out how everything fits together. So sometimes you just need to spin it around in 3D and just make sure that you feel that it matches your idea of the reference. Use the front and the sides as a guide, nothing else. There we go, you can see the upper torso and the neck and the head better now. So that will do for now. We're not doing the ears or anything like that yet, that can all come later. And we may even separate the head off completely and just build the head as a separate part once it's built. But let's just do the, let's get a shape of the arms in place. So go back to the polygons here, and we'll just, I keep doing double extrude when I don't mean to. Down like so. Bearing in mind that these arms come slightly back, you can't see it that well from here. Which would mean that we've got that slightly wrong there. So I'll have to select that. I use, just go to Edge and then use Loop Selection here. And then back to move, we can move that around like so. These tools that you see here on the left are just the main tools that I use that are pulled off the main menus at the top here. Most of them out of the Create, Select and Tool and Mesh menus from the top up here. And all you do is go into Windows, Customization, and you can use the Customize menus, Customize sections here, and drag out the tools that you want. It's just an easy way of having the tools that you need on hand. Certainly get to basically get familiar with them as shortcuts, or make your own shortcuts. But having them on hand is useful, certainly while you're learning. Keep doing that double extrude for some reason. There we are, down to the elbow. Now again, same as the head with the helmet, we're not looking at clothing here, we're just looking at shapes. So I'm going to extrude all the way out here down to the wrist. I'm going to rotate it. Like so. And then just check it in 3D to make sure it was roughly where I wanted it, which it is. And then we'll go and we'll use knife again, and we'll cut in some, deselect that, cut in some rings like so, and then we'll tweak it just to make it fit what our reference is showing us. So bigger forearm, which is where the glove will be. Wrist is fine. I'm looking at it in all these different angles now. Bring this up here, and we'll go back to our knife again. We'll cut one there and one there. That'll help us now. Making a bicep slightly larger. We need more cuts here around the elbow. So we'll do knife tool again. You can see why I have these tools on hand. Do get used to them as a keyboard shortcut. I want to keep doing it like this to show you which tools I'm using, but once you get them into shortcuts and into your muscle memory, you won't even be thinking about it. You'll be calling the commands at will, really. There we go. So the arms are looking fine. So let's go down and we'll do, in fact no, we'll just finish the hat, we'll just do, put some hands on there. Now we haven't got a lot of geometry for the hands, so I'm just going to do the hands but not the fingers. So the hand will come out every single time I do that double one to about there, and then we'll cut some new geometry and make the hand in a moment. But that's the block that we will want. Now the arm that we're making here goes back a lot further than the reference. You can see it comes across here, so we're going to have to angle that arm back in a few minutes. But for now, that's the basis of the arm and the hand. So let's go and do the underneath hips. Come right down with that one, and we're going to come bring this in straight away and out with this one. Let's have a look at what that means. So you can see there we haven't got anything that will differentiate the groin area from the leg, so we're going to have to do some cutting now to be able to do the next bit. So what we can use is, again, there's a couple of tools for this, but what we'll use is the knife tool but with a line. So we'll actually move that line across, like so. I'm just working out where to put the line, because it will go all the way down the back and up the front. Or whether we can even use a loop, actually, thinking about it, which I think at this stage we can. Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll put a loop all the way through, up, down the front and up the back, and it's given us more geometry at the top, which I am going to need anyway. So it's done us a favour. Always do a quick look round like that, just to be sure that you're not adding too much geometry in areas where you don't want it. It's not a major problem at this stage in the game, but later on you'll find you're putting in edge loops right the way through the mesh where you don't really need it, and that will give you geometry you just don't want in places you don't want. The poly count gets too high very, very quickly. So now if you look underneath, what I've got is the ability to pull that in, and we can pull the main part of the thighs from this geometry now without it causing a problem for us. So we'll go back to face mode, and we just want the two outer ones selected. Scale it up slightly, move it forward to match this reference. And then command and drag, and that gives us the extrude again. Bulk out the thigh. In fact, what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of tweaking at this stage. Trying to make the thigh look rounded from here. Again, we're only on minimal polygons at the moment. It's not a great deal of problem for us. Good. Back to face mode. And what was a problem is that last loop that we did. Just scale that down a bit. There you go, just above the knee. That last loop here went far too far off the reference, so we're going to have to pull that back a little bit into line with the reference. As you see that. And we could afford another split in there already in the thigh. So I'm back to face again. Time for the knee. Scale him up. Just keep on going down. That will be the calf. Keep your eye on all the views because it's so easy to go off at a tangent here. I'll go all the way down now, that one. If I use just scale on the on the y-axis, that will just bring it down a little bit for us. And then quick checking the perspective view. All seems good. I'll just stick a couple of knives in there. One there, one there. And then we'll just extrude down all the way. Which will become the foot. And the foot will change a lot. As long as we've got, again, as long as we've got the basic shape, I'm happy. The polygon flow on the foot will change significantly. And we will split the boot off. Probably won't even make the foot inside, we'll just make the boot. So I'm just looking, I'm just basically moving the polygons ready to extrude forwards. I just selected all the polygons there and I'm just flattening them a little bit. And then back to face. roughly give a toe shape. Like so. Do one more actually, I'm going to scale that right down. There we go. It's giving us a nice set of boots. And just put a few more extra cuts ready. So next section. So we'll knife right around the foot because we'll know that'll be one that we want. Bring another one in here and another one in here. Let's see where else I need any. One here, another one through the hip, another one through the belly. All okay there. We'll put one more under the chest. And there we go. So that's the basics of the body. We'll do the underlying body. We'll probably, at a later stage, we'll split off the boots, split off the hands and make gloves, and then make the full head and then make a helmet over the top. I'll just, one final thing that I didn't do is obviously the tail. So we'll just deselect everything. Just spotting things down. This happens all the time. As you're going to do something else, you'll spot where you can improve something. That literally happens to me on every single job. And the thing is, at every angle you look at it at, you'll see it in a different way. Managed to get an extra loop in there that we don't want. I'll take that out in a moment. Let's have a look. So to do the tail, we will make it as rounded as we can. Actually, what would help us there is because I'm seeing the back of that polygon face there. If I turn on, if I go to display, to configure, and what we're looking for is back face culling, which is here under view, and that just removes, you can see now, it will only see the front of those faces, so I can see from behind quite well. Doesn't really matter if I don't see it from behind, because I would never be modelling in that way anyway. So let's go to, just drag these up a little bit higher and see where that lies on the side. So it's still lower than the tail, so we need probably more polygons than that then. So we'll go for this one here perhaps. It's not far off. That will do it for now. And then we just extrude out, rotate it, scale it slightly. Seems okay. Same again. And as we got the shape roughly right, from the get-go, then we shouldn't need to adjust too much other than rotation and scale. It should be roughly tail-shaped. So I'm literally just moving out, moving it into position, extruding it out, moving it into position. Maybe rotate it a little bit as I look at it. Sometimes it needs to rotate, sometimes it doesn't. And then repeat. And just follow the reference along. Bear in mind that when you smooth it, this will tighten it up a lot more. So you may not need to go inside the shape because it will tighten too much. Nearly there. There we go. And there's the tail. Matches the reference quite well, I would imagine. Okay, apart from a bit of cleanup and a few edges being removed, that's pretty much the basic shape that we want to start with. It's given us a nice basic body overall shape to work from. We can add all the detail in each of these sections now. If you wanted to add a hypernerve now, just call it body. In fact, just body would do it. Change the cube to body. And then let's just create a couple of new materials. And we'll just call the first one skin light, and we'll just give it a green. Whoops, I've done that on the specular, so colour, green. And we'll turn off the specular for now because this is just for our own benefit. And we'll change the next one and call that dark, a bit darker, and we'll call it skin dark. We'll turn the specular off for that. So we've got a couple of textures to play with there. So we'll just drop the skin light on the overall. That'll do us for now. And then as we, I'm telling a lie now, it should have been skin dark on the overall. It's a bit too dark actually. And then as we work through the character, we'll add some of the other skin colours just to help us work out where we're at. So for example, when we do the belly, we'll add skin light to these areas. So next one, we'll do some detailing on the hands and the face. Next video.